Bonjour chérie, je m'appelle Hot Rod. Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. For today's video we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Studio Series The Last Night Deluxe Class Hot Rod, and hands down this has got to be the best mainline deluxe class that we've seen for the Studio Series so far. This thing is insane how accurate he is to the movie, truly is a game changer for deluxe figures going forward, and it has definitely set the bar. Now before we delve in and take a look at Hot Rod himself, we may as well kickstart off with the weapon, which basically in itself is a character. Here we have the time gun. My weapon shall stop the time. And the sculpt and paintwork on this thing is fantastic. Now this is already a massive improvement when in comparison to the first release of Hot Rod, as we never actually saw it released with that original 2017 deluxe figure. So it's really cool to finally get that classic iconic weapon with this character. And as you guys can see, the sculpt work is fantastic. Where those time capsules are, they've been fully painted in a really nice blue. Just overall a really sick looking weapon, and I'm just so glad they included this. Now as you would expect, it can be pegged into the hands, so Hot Rod can once again stop the time with this weapon, and he just looks so cool whilst using this. And here we have Hot Rod, and I'm pretty certain the figure speaks for itself. This thing looks incredible. Had you handed this to me a year ago, I probably would have mistaken it for a third-party piece, as it just looks insane. As we take a look here at the details for the head, I think the sculpt work is fantastic, as so is the paint. This looks so accurate to the movie. And the chest, my goodness, the Lambo looks awesome. I really like the headlights, the orange stripe that we have going along the base, and the amount of intricate sculpted in mechanical and surface detail that we have here for this section is just awesome. You can see all of the various different tubes and pistons. We've even got the silhouette of the Autobot logo, which I thought was a really nice attention to detail. And even here for the shoulders and the biceps, wow, check out all of that mechanical detail. That just looks fantastic. And we actually do get the correct wheel placement of them situating here along the side of the arms, which I thought too was a really nice attention to detail. As we come down here to the legs, yet again really accurate to the movie the way these all come together, and the orange paint is awesome. I really wasn't expecting him to be painted nowhere near as nicely as he has. And as you guys can see for the front, the shins look incredibly sleek, much like we saw in the movie, and even the foot design is really impressive. I just think this guy's awesome. As we come around here to the back, we actually do get the correct orientation of the door wings. The back kibble is super sleek and elegant. Just overall, such a fantastic figure. Even the back of the legs have been fully sculpted, which just looks so cool and accurate to the film. Now articulation wise, this was also an area which once again surprised me. So here for the head, Hot Rod is able to look up as well as down. It can also rotate side to side, although it is incredibly stiff. We do get ball joints here at the shoulders, which can rotate the full 360, hinge out to the sides, full rotation at the bicep, 90 there at the elbow, and very surprisingly, we actually do get a full wrist rotation on this guy, which I thought was really cool, and a completely unhindered waist rotation. So definitely way more dynamic when in comparison to the original version. The hips can kick forwards that far, back to that far, as well as out to the sides. We do get a 90-degree bend here at the knee, although you kind of have to push the wheel past a certain point, otherwise it will actually bump. So just gently push that past, and as you guys can see, we will get a pretty sweet looking knee bend. We also do get a mushroom peg here at the thigh, so this can rotate left to right. And finally here for the foot, this can pivot forwards and backwards at 2 points due to transformation. And considering the foot is on a ball joint, you can get a slight rocker side to side, although I do wish this perhaps could have been slightly cut out so we could have gotten a little more of a dynamic range. But other than that, this thing is just fantastic. And the door wings as well are fully articulated, so you can hinge these forwards and backwards. And if you really wanted to, you could move these pieces out to the sides and actually have the door wings sitting upwards like that. Kind of how Bumblebee has his, which to be honest, actually isn't a bad look for this guy at all. So overall, in terms of robot mode, I mean, come on, this Hot Rod is the nuts. This guy looks so cool. Now, turning to some comparisons, here we have our new Studio Series Lambo Hot Rod on the left and the original 2017 deluxe version on the right. And truth be told, there really isn't a comparison to be had here. The new version absolutely decimates the original release, and I just don't know what they were thinking when they put this guy out. The chest was wrong, the proportions were way off, the color scheme was off. It just looks so bad. Now, when in comparison comparison to our new Studio Series version, and this is going to sound really harsh, but I actually think the back kibble on our new release is better than the entirety of the original 2017 release. And not to forget that they didn't even include that classic stop the time gun with that original 2017 version. So without a shadow of a doubt, for those who own this version and are looking for the best version of Hot Rod to add to the collection, it is of course our new Studio Series release. And for another Hot Rod comparison, here we have him alongside the World War II Studio Series version, and yet again there is a massive difference in terms of the quality between these two. I actually am hoping that they may go back and revisit this design, as on paper it's a really cool concept. World War II Hot Rod, World War II Bumblebee, but sadly in execution the figure wasn't the best, especially in regards to this backpack. But head sculpt wise, despite them looking very similar, they are completely brand new, and the time guns between the both of them also are completely brand new distinctive sculpts. Here we have Hot Rod alongside the Transformers Dark of the Moon Studio Series Bumblebee, just so you guys can see how these two scale with one another, and overall I actually don't think they look too bad at all. Of course, we'll no doubt see a version of the Transformers 5B in the future, but this was the closest version that I could find in my collection. Here he is alongside the Studio Series 32 Optimus Prime, Transformers 5 Voyager Class Hound, and for one final comparison, here we have him compared alongside the DX9 Lahire, which still is a fantastic figure, but I've truly just brought this comparison in to showcase how close this $25 version of Hot Rod came to perfecting that CGI design. I mean, come on. It's just such a well done job. Now, turning to transformation, in all honesty, this guy definitely lives up to the definition of a mini masterpiece, as the transformation is actually quite involved. So to kickstart things off, you're going to want to come here to the head, rotate this all the way around so the front is now facing the back, and then just angle the head downwards like that. What we can then do is come here to the thigh, rotate at this mushroom peg, take the wheel, snap this section there into place. We can then fold out the spoiler as well as the exhaust pipe, and here on the shin there is this section which will actually sink inwards, and then we can just rotate all of this around and this section will snap firmly there into place. Rinse and repeat the same process for this side. So rotate at the thigh, take the wheel, snap that there into place, flip out the spoiler and the exhaust, and then just fold all of this here in upon itself. We can then combine the two halves, so just snap that section there into place, make sure that the exhausts are aligned up appropriately, and now comes the challenging part of the transformation. So for this, what you're going to want to do is angle this section down, fold out these latches, and then compress this here to the backpack, as we're going to rotate the waist all the way around so the front is now facing the back. We can then take these sections, hinge those out on both sides, angle these down, as this entire roof is actually going to swivel just like this, and you'll actually want to push inwards, locking it there into place. Now once that's done, we can slide all of these tabs and slots in upon themselves, line the doors up, so just peg those in there, and do the same here for this side. And that isn't even the most challenging part of the transformation, as the torso really is pretty involved. So for this, you're going to want to dip these sections down, take this section here, pull this outwards. That will then allow us to slide the chest components out to the sides. We can then fold this forwards, hinge these sections outwards, and basically you're going to want to bend at this section and lift that up and over the head. So definitely fairly complex. I was really pleasantly surprised. We can then just angle these here outwards, ensure that these are fully opened up, and then just collapse the hood of the car over the top of these headlights. So just snap them in there, just like this. We can then come around here to the underside. You'll want to fold these panels out and do the same here for this side, and basically angle the shoulders inwards. And as you guys can see, there are various different slots and tabs that you'll just want to align up appropriately. So snap that in there, just like so, and do the same here for this side. And inside here, there is a tiny tab that will peg into a notch up in there. So just peg that in, and that is one side of the vehicle fully transformed. Come here to this side, and you guys guessed it, rinse and repeat, and then just snap all of this here in, peg all of that in, snap this section in. And with all that being said, here we have Hot Rod fully transformed up into his wicked Lamborghini Centenario Alt Mode. And wow, this thing is just so cool. Usually with modern Studio Series figures, especially when it comes to the deluxes, there's always a mode which slightly suffers, but with this figure, absolutely not. The Lamborghini mode looks just as awesome as the robot mode, which is why I think this has now set a new standard for deluxe figures going forwards. Now as we take a look here at the details, here we have that beautiful 2017 Lamborghini Centenario, and I mean, come on guys, does this thing just not look so cool? As we take a look here at the details, you can see we've got the really cool looking headlights, the Lambo logo there at the front, as well as the orange trim here for this section, as well as for the side piece. I also think the nice orange detail that we have for the top of the door looks great, and the colour scheme is just way more accurate when in comparison to that first version, so that's really nice to see. We do get this engine piece here at the back, as well as the rear spoiler, which is actually accurate to the movie. When Hot Rod does divert the cops for Bumblebee as they're chasing down Barricade in London, this does deploy, so I thought that was a pretty sweet touch. We do get the tail lights as well as the exhausts, and all of this detail too just looks fantastic. And as we flip our attention to the underside, you can just see how intricate this guy is. He really does transform incredibly nicely, and as you would expect, he can roll very smoothly along the ground. So overall, an amazing, a fantastic looking alt mode to accommodate a beautiful looking robot mode. Now in regards to weapon storage, we can take the stop the time gun and peg it into this slot that we have here at the back. So that's a pretty cool look. I don't think that looks too bad at all. And in regards to some comparisons, here we have our Studio Series version on the left and the original 2017 release on the right, just so you guys can see how they shape up alongside one another. I will be honest and say I much prefer the Lambo logo that we saw on the original version, but overall I think the design and the sleekness that they've been able to capture here with the new SS version does look a lot better in my opinion, and the colour deco as well is way more accurate on this new 2022 release. Even as we take a look here at the rear spoiler, this looks much better when in comparison to this, which was sadly pretty void of any paint apps. Be sure to let me know out of the two, which one do you guys think shines here in alt mode? And here he is alongside the Studio Series Dark of the Moon Bumblebee. Once again, just so you guys can see how they pair with one another. Definitely a pretty decently sized looking deluxe class. And so some final thoughts for the Transformers Studio Series Deluxe Class Hot Rod. Overall, I think this guy is just outstanding. There really isn't much else I can say in this closing segment that I haven't already previously mentioned in this video. I think in regards to robot mode, he really has set the standard for future deluxes going forward. This guy only costs roughly $25, yet has a robot mode which basically is able to capture the same level of accuracy as you would expect from a movie masterpiece. He really does look incredible. The only slight qualm that I can pick out in the robot mode would be the lack of a proper ankle rocker, but considering the foot is on a ball joint, you still are able to get this guy into some pretty dynamic poses. I think the time gun's awesome, the transformation is really cool, definitely very intricate for a deluxe, and like I said, really does remind me of a masterpiece, and the Lamborghini Centenario Alt Mode 2 is just flawless. So overall, as a complete package, this guy is exceptional. If you can only pick up one deluxe figure from this latest wave, it has got to be this figure. I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. Do you guys agree with my thoughts? Do you think that Hot Rod is a game changer for future live action movie releases? As always, I want to give a massive thank you to you guys for checking out the video, and until my next review, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.